Y'all, welcome back to the channel. Double A Hef here with another dose of the Truth Scope. So, before I even get into the video, the last time I did a video featuring Dr. Rashad Richey, I had a whole bunch. I had a plethora of super fanboys all up in the comments. To this day, I'm still getting them in those very comments, coming to the rescue of their boo thing. So, do I have anything personal against Dr. Rashad Richey? No, I do not. I do not know Dr. Rashad Richey on that level. Bless you. But obviously, when it comes to policy points, he and I don't see eye to eye, and obviously that's all fine and dandy. I also don't really appreciate how he does his show, and again, all that's fine. That's his show. Obviously, I don't really watch it. It's not really for me, so he can do whatever he wants. As long as there's a market for it. Knock yourself out, Dr. Rashad Richey. But anyway. This video is actually going to be about abortion. The last video we did about Dr. Rashad Richey was pertaining to the George Floyd bill. If you want to check that video out, you can. It's on my YouTube page. This one's going to be about abortion. So he brought on this brother. I forget his name. Obviously, you can see him on the left side with the red, with wearing the "Make America Straight Again" hoodie and the "Make Abortions Illegal Again" cap. Yes, so we know where he stands, and I have no issue with that either. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna start, and I'm gonna chime in because obviously I've done several videos on abortion, but I think it's good to get some different perspective sometimes. So you'll be able to see multiple angles on this subject. Let me play this video.
Principles or the values you have received from the Bible?
Starts with that, but it's really just common sense. Even if you don't believe in the Bible, it should be common sense to be against abortion.
Okay. So let me ask you this: for war?
Am I for a war?
Correct.
I'm against war. Take our troops out of pretty much all of these countries to stop messing with other countries.
That actually has some intellectual integrity. Are you also anti?
See, things like that. Exactly what I meant when I said I don't like the way he goes about his show. You have a guest on, and then that's how you speak to the guest. Obviously, what he was saying is that basically in layman's terms, to dumb it down, what you said sounds smart, but I mean, again, where's that respect level? You have this person on your show, so if off the rip, I can understand if you guys were going at it for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then you're just like, you know what? Forget it. You sound dumb as hell, or whatever the case may be. Even then, it depends on people's cup of tea. But to jump off the rip, as if he's like the end all be all, like he's the smartest man in the room, and it's like Dr. Rashad Richey. A lot of the things you say make no sense, and that just happens to be the case with a lot of people on the left. A lot of what they say makes sense on paper. But when it comes to real life and actually, implementing these things, you sound like a fool.
Anti-death penalty.
I'm becoming that way. So sometimes I struggle with it because emotionally, when you see somebody messing with little kids and stuff of that nature, you want to say, I don't like that. But just to be clear, when I talk about pro-life, I'm talking about abortions, period. So I'm referring to abortion.
Well, that's the context that you would like it to only apply to. But if you use the phraseology pro-life, well, now I need to understand, how do you consider life in different contexts?
So what he's trying to do is he's trying to muddy the waters in regards to the conversation, like the actual context of pro-life. Now, you and I and most people know when you hear the terms pro-life, pro-choice, they're synonymous. They're not really synonymous, but they go hand in hand. They're two different sides of the same coin. So what he's trying to do is muddy the waters and conflate it to have it say something else, have it be about now criminals and the death penalty and all that other stuff. Now, we can get into all of that. Now, I've done videos about my stances on capital punishment. I'm against capital punishment. You can watch the video, but I'll give you a little bit of the reason why right now, obviously, because it's relevant. I'm against capital punishment because I'm against the government having the authority to take a life. Now, for instance, if someone was out there murdering and raping young children, do I think that person, quote unquote, deserves to live? No, I don't. But I don't, and if maybe one of those kids' parents or relatives were to find that person and then, exact justice on that person, I would have no issue with that. You know what I mean? I would have no issue with that. But when it comes to the state, when it comes to the government saying, hey, we're going to, kill you, then no, that's where I draw the line. Because if you don't draw the line, then, who's going to draw the line? The government. And they'll draw the line with fucking, excuse my language, killing you. So no. We have to have, that's not what they're for. That's not their lane to be, making those decisions. So that's my stance. So again, if Dr. Rashad Richey were to have me on the show, which he probably never would, because if he got crazy, I'd have to put him in his place. But if he did, I would say, look, I'm pro-life, meaning the babies that are conceived, he would say, oh, they're not babies. Okay. And that's, again, how they try to, conflate and muddy the waters. The babies that are conceived and are in the womb, they have the right to life, just like you and I breathing right now have the right to life, right? So, and again, when it comes to capital punishment, those same people have a right to life. And the right isn't for me or the state to come and, make that decision. So that's where I'm at on that.
For example, if you are a pro-life person, then I would expect you to also be pro-funding for adoption centers or pro-funding for community homes that deal with.
No, not necessarily. And this is, again, these are they're little, tricks and gimmicks that they like to run. So he said, I would expect you to be pro-funding for, like orphanages and things like that because you're pro-life and stuff like that. You have to understand something. Me, I'm pro-life, right? And I'm also pro-responsibility and accountability. Now, if, there's a lot of women out there having abortions, not because, they're, being responsible or being accountable, it's because they're not. So, no, I'm not for people spending more money for these programs and stuff like that, just to pick up the burden of other people. Other people need to become more responsible and hold themselves accountable. That way, they don't need these orphanages. If you have kids, be there for your kids. Don't have your kids become wards of the state and be taken away from you. Get your stuff together. It's that simple. Because we live in a society where there's no shame. Where, oh yeah, I have 5-6 abortions, or I've given up kids to adoption and stuff like that. And like, no, that's a shame. You should be shamed for that. But that's not occurring. So the absence of shaming, and not all shaming is bad. Nowadays all the terms linked with shaming, fat shaming, slut shaming, gay shaming, all of that, it has like this whole like negative connotation on it. But no, some shame is good. Sometimes when you do things, you should be ashamed. You should feel ashamed. So if you had multiple abortions, you should feel ashamed. If you've given up kids to the state because maybe you were like, I don't want to have an abortion, but I really don't want these kids, you should feel ashamed. I know why? Because you shouldn't have had the damn kids. Unless you were raped. Unless it was out of your control, then you should feel some type of shame. But again, the society that we live in now takes all the shame away. And if you try to place shame on people, then they make you like the bully. And that's just not the case. So again, Dr. Rashad Richey and many people like him like to try to conflate the arguments and conflate they like to conflate the arguments and then take what you're speaking about out of context. So let me go back to the video. I'll bring it back a couple seconds. and then I'll continue.
Consider life in different contexts. For example, if you are a pro-life person, then I would expect you to also be pro-funding for adoption centers, or pro-funding for community homes that deal with children. I was a foster child myself. So I would imagine if you're pro-life, you're also pro-life those that are outside of the womb, is my point, right? Outside of the womb.
Well, you want to have a conversation about outside the womb, but I'm specifically dealing with inside of the womb. So I'm dealing with abortion specifically. I'm anti-abortion. It should be illegal. Very simple.
Okay, because you believe life begins at conception?
Yes, I believe the definition of a cell is a small form of life by definition in biology. So then if you apply that to a human, we're talking about a human cell. So then if that's human life and you're taking it away, then obviously you shouldn't be able to do that.
Let me be graphic with you. Does sperm have a cell?
Yes.
Is that a human being?
No, I know. I thought I said the smallest form of life. So if you talk about a human cell, when a sperm goes into the egg, okay, I'm not going to do that. We all know what happens. And then when it starts growing, obviously it's doing that, and that's why you're here. That's why I'm here. That's why everybody's here right now, is because of that right there. So,
You see, so what Dr. Rashad Richey is trying to do again is he's trying to like frame it in a way where, oh well, if a cell is a living thing, then the sperm is, and it's, see, these are the BS tactics that these people like to use. All right. So honestly, all you got to do is just remain above it. Remain above it. The facts are the facts. All right. We understand that when a male and a female come together, and you know, the egg and the sperm and its conception, at that point, life is beginning. We all understand that, because again, women aren't just freaking, you know, having the immaculate conceptions out here, you know, on a daily basis. And last time I checked, men ain't having freaking babies shoot out their goddamn penises. So let's just be real. Let's stop the bullshit. Okay, Dr. Rashad Richey. And it's funny because he started out by saying, oh, that actually sounded intelligent to the first statement that this brother said. But now he's out here saying some dumb shit. This is my point. And like I said, I'm going to be doing a whole series on consistency, because consistency is key. And you can find the bullshit in the people that are talking to you if they're being consistent. Because he just said, oh, if we're going to be consistent, if you're pro-life, then you should be pro, you know, funding for, what's it called, orphanages and stuff like that. No, not necessarily. I'm pro-life and I'm pro get your shit together. What the fuck you need an orphanage for? Huh? Get your shit together. Period. Now, don't get me wrong. There's always going to be a small demographic of, you know, of children that are going to need orphanages because, you know, tragedy strikes. You know, families die in car crashes or whatever. You know, double homicides, mother, father killed, whatever, love triangle. You know, all this type of crazy stuff, and we get all that. But on a grand scale, for this guy to be talking about, oh, what are we going to do about, you know, all these? Look, we don't let the exceptions make the rule. Okay, that's just how it has to be. You know, you don't have a society run by always making goddamn exceptions all the fucking time. No, you make the rules, and you don't let the exceptions make the rules. All right, that's it. Now, sometimes you have exceptional people, and then you do, you know, exceptions for exceptional people. But outside of that, it's very, you know, cut and dry.
So let's not play these little weird games. We know exactly.
We're not playing games, brother. Okay. We're having an open conversation. Yeah. Because if your faith belief informs you of your stance on a woman's right to choose, let's be okay with challenging the conversation. And I will let you speak and I'll speak. So let me pose this question to you. When we talk about life, we're not talking about biological function, because there's a lot of biological function. We can spit on the ground and there's biology in the spit. You're not trying to save the spit, brother. So we're not talking about biological function. We're talking about a soul being placed inside of the body and a soul being present inside of the womb. That's what we're really talking about, correct? That's what makes it life.
No, I made what I said very specific. That's why I said when somebody releases a sperm and it comes with the egg and it starts creating life. When that come together and life starts growing, period. That's a human cell. So the fact that you're taking that away, and let's not act like that's when most abortions happen. Most abortions happen later than that, which is more disgusting. So later we start doing that. That is murder, and not only it should be simply illegal. No, I don't want no exceptions.
All right. So what about in cases of rape?
No exceptions.
In cases of molestation?
No exceptions.
In cases of incest?
No exceptions.
Now, let me go back to your...
See, now that brother is being consistent. He said no exceptions across the board. He is against abortion. He's against abortion. And to a degree, I get that. I get that, and I respect it. Again, obviously, we have to respect consistency, man. Unfortunately, things like that occur. But what I can assure you is we will continue to go on. For instance, you think that a young girl that was, impregnated and molested by a family member last year was the first person to have that happen to her? Or do you think she'll be the last person? No, that's my point. So yes, very unfortunate, but it's happened throughout human time. So saying that you're not for the abortion in that situation, there's been instances, many of instances where that has happened, and these people have brought children to term, and they've dealt with it. So again, I don't think that it's I'm with this brother. I think his name is Bryson Gray. I agree with him. And obviously Dr. Rashad Richey is probably getting aggravated because this guy's standing on his beliefs and not backing down.
Ideology about where life begins. We can all agree that in the story of Adam and Eve, or Ahadam, that Adam was a biological entity first. And this biology that had the format of life, cells were functioning. There was a biological process because according to the text that you say informs your belief on abortion, God created Adam, or God created man. So now you have your biology. But man did not become living, brother, which means Adam, as a biological entity, according to the scripture, was not living until something happened to Adam. What happened to Adam that made him a living soul?
The Most High blew the breath into
I know what you're about to say. God breathed breath into him, but my answer is that God knew you before the womb, before you was in the womb.
Okay, so you answered the question that in the scripture that you base your opinion on.
And see, this is what they'll do. They'll try to use the scriptures just to try to pick apart certain things and make their points. Having no real knowledge of the scriptures, they'll try to take one passage and then, like he just did, and try to make it stick. So what he was trying to say is, Adam wasn't actually like alive until God blew the breath into him, gave him life, because he had formed him with the dirt. God did. He formed Adam with the dirt, made him, into man, but he was an actual man, so he blew the breath into him. So with that, he's trying to say you can be a biological man, but not have a soul. So no, not necessarily, because God created Adam, and God ultimately, we can say destroyed Adam, right? But that's God, and that's my issue with all of this. God is the soul creator. God is the soul destroyer, not man, not woman. A woman can't go and say, I'm going to get rid of this baby. Okay? That's God's decision. That's my point. So anybody that understands the scriptures will understand that basic level. That's very basic. You cannot create or destroy. And honestly, what you can do, like for instance, say you're married, and then your wife cheats out on you, commits adultery. Because then, if a wife has relationship with any man else that's not her husband, it's considered adultery. So if that were the case, and then the man were to kill the wife, that's actually righteous in the eyes of the Lord. So that there are instances that are laid out in the book. I also know that a lot of these quote unquote liberals like to go to the bitter water scripture. But the issue with that is, again, that was instructed by the Most High, in terms of if your wife is committing adultery behind your back, because adultery is a sin, and that's the Lord's way of pretty much not having an illegitimate child come into the world. So again, that was chaperoned by the Most High for a reason that aligns with what He has set forth in the commandments and being against adultery. So again, they don't know shit about the Bible, but then they like to go and take pieces of the Bible, not understanding that the Bible you have to take it all in its context. All in its context. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna take this and see blah blah blah." No, because that's just not how it works. And that's probably why these people are so lost and fucking confused, because they're just looking for shortcuts all the goddamn time, and they don't really know shit.
Base your faith value on that Adam was actually a biological creature, a biological presence that had the function of life. However, Scripture says that is not what made him living. He did not become living until there was a respiratory function, until God breathed into Adam, and the Bible says Adam thus became a living soul. So that means that Adam can exist biologically first.
Dude, no. Again, you're missing the point. God breathed life into Adam, right? Adam was not a biological man. He was just there. He didn't have a soul, but he wasn't doing anything. He was just an empty vessel. When the conception happens and the sperm and the egg meet, right? At that moment, God has already breathed the life into that person or baby, whether it's going to be a boy or a girl. He's done it already. It's done. It's not when the baby's born and he actually takes a breath. That's not how it happens. That's not what that means. The second the conception happens, that's when the Most High has put the life into. Because if he did not, then the conception would not have happened. Jesus.
Without actually being living second.
There's a huge problem with this comparison you're using. The huge problem is Adam wasn't born of a woman. He was the first man created by God. And then the woman Eve was created from the rib. That's why I brought the other scripture that said, I knew you even before you was in the womb. And that's quite simple. One of the things God hates is a shedding of innocent blood.
Well, let's go back to that. And I appreciate the conversation, brother. You and I disagree totally on the concept here, but I appreciate the open conversation.
See, that's the thing, though. It's not about disagree when it comes to this. It's about you being incorrect in your knowledge of the scriptures or lack thereof of the scriptures. That's all it is. It's not a matter of to agree or disagree. All right. So, but again, that's how Mr. or Dr. Rashad Richey likes to speak during the show, and that's what I don't like about it, because it's disingenuous, and it's kind of like he's always taking underhand slights at people.
Now, the scripture you just mentioned is actually in Jeremiah 1. And God is specifically talking about Jeremiah the prophet. And the wording is, before you were in the womb of your mother, I knew you. I ordained you a prophet unto the nation. So just as you utilize the scripture in the book of Genesis to apply to a one-time situation, why do you not use the scripture in Jeremiah to apply specifically as it is stated to a one-time situation?
I gave you another scripture. You ignored it.
Well, first of all, the one time the difference between that is the one Adam is Adam was the only man that was not born of a woman. What the fuck? He's the only man that was not born of a woman. So obviously something different had to occur, and that difference was the Most High actually breathing the breath of life into him. Now, when you talk about men and women being born from women, the life has already been the breath has already been breathed into them.
Okay, what was the other one? Where is it at?
One of the 6 things God hates is the shedding of innocent blood.
Well, we understand that, brother. And once again, that is in reference to life. And we've already established that you can have biology without having life. That's according to the text that you read in Genesis.
Our baby.
No, that's incorrect. That's incorrect. See, you have to be aware of when they'll try to, say things like that. That's not what he said, and that we are not in agreement on that. That's what you're trying to make it.
Our babies in the womb, as they're growing, is that not life?
I do not believe they are. No, I do not believe that's a living soul. So you asked me, hold on, brother. You asked me a question. The answer to your question is, I do not believe an embryo is a living soul until there is a respiratory function.
So I do. He doesn't believe an embryo is a living soul until there's respiratory function. So what he's saying is he doesn't believe that a baby is alive until that motherfucker comes out the goddamn womb. Now, anyone, and I'm not sure if he has kids or not, but anyone that's had kids or knows people that have kids, that, for instance, when they give you the due date, it's like a give or take a week or two. So, like my baby, he could have came out a week early. So, so you're saying my baby wasn't a baby a week early because he was still in the womb, or if he would have came out a day early? Like what are you talking about? What are you talking about? We know people are born premature all the time. I have Michael Peoples on my show on this YouTube channel all the time. He was born 5 months premature. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Because there's no logic in what he's saying, but that's how you know. Because, and again, if he was being consistent, if that's the case, Rashad Richey, if you're not alive until you're born, you come out, then the implication is that once that the 9-month gestation period is actually complete, then that is when you actually have a live human being. But if people can be born 5 months, 4 months premature, then wouldn't that tell you otherwise? That maybe you don't need the 9 months. So then, what's the why then why press the point of 9 months? And when the breath is born, obviously they're already alive. So, but he says that if you haven't already realized or if you're not getting from him, what he's saying that because it's convenient for him. Because he's a puppet. He's a puppet to the liberals. He's a puppet to the left. That's it. So does he truly believe that? I don't know. I don't know this man personally, so I don't know. But I know that he'd say that anyway. Whether he did or he didn't believe it, he would say what he's saying because that's what he has to say. Because on the platform that he's on, those are the things that he has to say. So that's it.
That's my belief. Your belief can be different than mine.
So as they're growing and as they're getting basically food from the mother and getting everything from the mother, so they can grow, you're telling me that is not a living thing?
No, I do not believe that's a living soul. So I do believe it has the biology or the biological processes of life, just as your spit does or other elements connected to your body. But I do not believe it is an active soul.
This man, right, the smartest man out here, the doctor, is trying to compare a human embryo and fetus and all of when it's growing and changing to spit. All right, this man has no integrity. He has no integrity for his own goddamn show. You know what I mean? At least be a man, but be a man and just to say like, okay, I have nothing for you, Bryson Gray. I have nothing for you right now. You're spitting that hot fire, and you got me on this one. But you're just gonna try to sit here and try to compare a human baby to spit? Come on, man. Come on.
So that is what I believe.
Yes.
Let me take you to a policy. You do realize.
Real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. When you use a spit, that's very interesting, and you're using the term "living soul" instead of life. I see why you're using that. But we talk about spit. Spit is a totally different ballgame because spit is not growing. It's not growing. It's not getting bigger. It's not learning how to do things. It's not functioning that way. Because spit is obviously not life.
I got you, brother.
This guy's rude. I'm gonna
Why
rewind
you're
it
using
in case
instead of life, I see why you're using that. But we talk about spit. Spit is a totally different ballgame because spit is not growing. It's not growing. It's not getting bigger. It's not learning how to do things. It's not functioning that way. Because spit is obviously not life.
See how rude and dismissive he is because he's getting his ass handed to him. That's why, Dr. Rashad Richey. That's why, and that's why. I knew I was in a video on you. I didn't know which one, but I knew I was going to because first of all, in that last one I did, you showed your ass one, and then all your fanboys came out the woodwork trying to cape up for you. So I was like, I'm gonna get this nigga again because I don't really watch you because you're disingenuous, man. You're not real. You know what I mean? You're not real. And now this brother is literally serving your ass to you on a plate, and you're just trying to be rude and dismissive. Why have people on the goddamn show? You're just gonna act like a damn child.
I got you, brother. And you have your belief, and I respect your belief and your value system.
It's not a belief. It's the reality. Like you just said, spit doesn't grow. You're trying to compare spit to a growing baby in the womb of a female.
So you're a guy, you want to see less abortions happen in America. Do you support Republicans politically?
I'm conservative. Republicans are starting to go towards further left, so they have pissed me off as of late.
But you do support.
Oh, what's this? Ad?
Support conservatives that are anti-abortion, right? Or anti-woman's right to choose. You support them.
I support that specific policy.
Okay, so you see, he just has to sneak that in there. He said you support Republican anti-abortion, and then very quickly he was like, or anti-woman's right to choose. So look, honestly, I don't know. Look, I'm about to make this screen big on me real fast because y'all need to hear this. Honestly, I don't know when, but this is going to happen. And mark my word. When women are going to stop allowing the left to pimp them by saying, oh, you're taking away the woman's right to choose. Because the issue is the women have many, many, many rights, and they make many, many, many choices or fail to make choices prior to getting pregnant. So if you're saying, oh, you're anti-woman's rights to choose, it's honestly not even fair to the women because they have rights. And they made many choices before they got pregnant. So when they allow the left to speak about them like that, they're speaking about them as if they're fucking kids. That's the ultimate conclusion that anyone with a thinking brain is going to come to, because you're trying to take away women's rights to choice, that women can't choose. But if we take into account the fact that they're making all the choices to get pregnant, then it's the left that's saying that you can't have the right to choose. We're just going to avoid all that by saying you can do whatever you want. See, it's one of those where, they'll wake up. I don't know when they're going to wake up, but sooner or later, women will wake up, and that's going to be one of those like PC things. Well, they don't say that no more. Oh, we don't say right to women's choice anymore because, it doesn't add up. That's why.
Okay. Let me read to you some actual data. Now, this is not a projection. This is what has already happened. During the last 30 years, that's a long time, brother. The most dramatic decrease in abortion rates in America has happened under Democratic presidents, not Republican presidents. Republican or conservative presidents have either kept it the same or increased the number of actual abortions in the United States. Let me read some stats. Per 1,000 women, Reagan from 1981 to 1989 had the number at 24 per 1,000. This was rates per every 1,000 women, according to the CDC. H.W. Bush had it at 24, which kept it steady. Clinton had it 16.2, which dropped it. Bush had it at 16 as well. And then President Obama gets in and he dramatically decreases it to 11. All right. So the most dramatic and the only decreases of actual abortion rates in the United States of America happened under Democratic presidents, which would mean if you're considering saving more lives, if you believe that abortions or abortion is murder, then you have to consider voting for a Democrat and not a Republican, because under conservatives, the abortion rate actually increases, and under Democrats, it actually decreases.
Okay, so those are some interesting numbers that he brings up. Now, if we're going to take those numbers as at face value and believe it to be true, what I would say is, what are the causes to that? Something that's with these Republican policies are saying to these women, or making these women conclude that, you know what, I'd rather get an abortion. Or there's something with the Democratic policies that are saying, oh no, I'd rather keep the kid. And based off basic knowledge, I would surmise that it's the Democrats, because hey, you know, if you get pregnant underneath us, you know, we're extending welfare, we're extending all this, we're going to give you more money per kid. So if you're going to get pregnant during the term of a Democratic president, if you're looking at it from that perspective, it'll be best for you to keep the baby during that time, and probably not the best for you to keep the baby during the time where they're cutting those benefits. So for him to say, oh, maybe you should go with a Democrat, no, because it's the Democratic policies that make these women feel like they have that type of choice, because it takes away their accountability and responsibility. Now, if we just held women more accountable, and men more accountable, and you know, that way they could be more responsible, then ultimately is my belief that those numbers will decrease anyway. But again, if it's, you know, a Democratic president, hey, you know, stay home, you know, don't do shit, you know, your kids ain't gonna be shit, just like you ain't shit, because you're living off the system, and now you do what the hell we tell you to do. Look, that's not living anyway. It's not. So when it comes to the greater good, look, like the brother Bryson said, I am pro-life. So no abortion. No abortion. Period. Whether a conservative wants to say it or a liberal wants to say it, it don't matter who the hell wants to say it. Pro-life, no abortion. So to clarify, because I understand the doctor is trying to make the case that abortions go up under Republican presidents. And I'm pushing back, saying it's because of Democratic policies that entice these women to have these kids instead of abort them. So you can't sit there and say, "Oh, my fault." You can't sit there and say that the Democrats are doing good, because they're not. They're ultimately not. And the issue isn't going to vote for them, you know, because there's going to be more of the same nonsense. So how we fix that is in a home. You're not going to fix that by voting for some goddamn politician. You fix that in the home.
Well, none of them statutes brought up affects me at all, because like I've made clear multiple times, I want it illegal, meaning it shouldn't happen, period. So them stats has no effect on me.
All right, you do realize how ridiculous it sounds when you say you want a person who was raped to be forced to have a child.
You see, let me remind you. You see how he just came out? Because again, he knows he has nothing for this guy, Mr. Bryson Gray. So now he's gonna, you know, stoop down to the name calling and the low level insults and stuff like that. Well,
There's no effect on it.
All right, you do realize how ridiculous it sounds when you say you want a who was raped to be forced to have a child. You want a girl, a child who was molested.
I don't think that's ridiculous. I don't think it's ridiculous at all. If a woman was raped, it's his belief and his opinion that the woman should bring the child to term. I don't understand what's ridiculous about it. That child, is that child considered a love child? No. But again, that child, you don't know who that child could be. That child could be the next Einstein, could be the next president of the United States. That child, there's the potential in that child you don't know. The Most High put that child there for a reason. Okay? So it's not ridiculous. And it doesn't sound ridiculous at all. I think you sound ridiculous, Dr. Rashad Richey, because that's you run out of options, and that's pretty much like all you got right now. Like that's why you put the papers down, and you're like, you know what, I'm about to just get down and dirty on this one because this guy's putting my ass on my own show.
To be forced to have a baby, you realize how dumb as hell that sounds, right?
Well, it wasn't the baby that raped the person, so I don't think that's an exception.
Say that again.
The baby that's growing inside of you didn't rape you, didn't molest you. The man hopefully is in jail and or dead. But
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
How could a God who made all this beautiful stuff in the world
That's a joke.
make things that are scary and evil?
Wait a minute. So you want that person punished for taking away the choice of another individual, but you don't want that individual to have a choice as it relates to carrying the embryo into term.
Let's get that again, because I know the commercial came in, kind of threw stuff off.
Choice of another individual.
Or dead. But
wait a minute. So you want that person punished for taking away the choice of individual, but you don't want that individual to have a choice as it relates to carrying the embryo into term.
No, incorrect. I want that person to be punished for raping and or molesting. I know a lot of times people try to use blanket terms like a choice, so you can use that in another place, but no, I'm specifically talking about raping and molesting because you said those words.
Exactly. Thank you. See, again, you have to pay attention to how they try to scope the conversations. You realize he kept saying the choice, taking away the woman's choice, and no, it's not about choice. That's not what that's about. Rape is wrong. All right, rape is wrong, and you will be punished. You will bleed. The Bible says so. It's pretty simple what we're talking about here. It's not about choice. It's not about him infringing upon another person's choice. No, we're talking about breaking the statutes of the Bible. All right, there's that person's wicked. All right, that's it.
This is fascinating. So, and one thing, Bryson, is that there's a policy, or at least it existed temporarily in the state of Alabama. Alabama passed a law, and I'm sure you were very happy about this law until the court overturned it, that said even in cases of rape, abortion would still be illegal in Alabama. That law did get overturned, but keep in mind, it did get passed. And literally in Alabama, a person would get more time for aborting the fetus than what the rapist would get for raping the woman. Does that make sense to you?
No, I don't agree with that last aspect. Obviously, the person that raped the woman needs to get life. Any person that rapes somebody should get life in prison. But I do like the fact that they did that law outside of that last part.
Do you have children?
No, but I will. I have 3 siblings.
You have sisters?
I have a little sister, correct.
You ever thought if somebody raped your little sister, you wouldn't want her to have the child of the rapist, or at least have her?
No, my sister, she will have the child.
Because you will force her to have it?
Nope, because she was a Bible-believing Christian like me, and she doesn't believe in abortion.
So if your sister, God forbid, was raped,
we can talk to her. She's upstairs.
You would. Well, I can have on the show another time. I'm talking to you today.
Okay.
You would counsel her to not have an abortion, but to in fact have a child of the rapist.
I already know she would have it, but I would tell her, you better not get no abortion. Off the rails, like, do not get no abortion. I tell everybody that who even thinks about having an abortion. I talk to people in my DMs sometimes think about having an abortion. But it's never really based on rape. We argue on something that's very rare. The majority of cases is convenience. Women just want convenience because women want to be out here having sex with who knows what, when no one.
Ding, ding, ding. Let me run it back for y'all that may not have heard what this brother just said. But this is what makes up the overwhelming majority.
But I would tell her, you better not get no abortion. Off the rails, like, do not get no abortion. I tell everybody that who even thinks about having an abortion. I talk to people in my DMs sometimes think about having an abortion. But it's never really based on rape. We argue on something that's very rare. The majority of cases is convenience. Women just want convenience because women want to be out here having sex with who knows what, when no, and who nobody knows, and then they want to get
Exactly. So then the next logical question will be, then how come the left keeps on going to rape cases when they try to make their argument for abortion? Why are they going to the minority when they to talk about something for abortion, right? Again, like I said, we don't let exceptions make the rule, all right? So how come, again, the people on the left are going to the abortions when abortions make up a very small percentage of all abortion cases? That should tell you something. So, and again, I'm not sitting here saying that, when I say left and right, I'm not political. I'm not, I'm not. All right. Now, I did go to school, and I've said this before. I did go to school for politics. I was a political science major. I did have aspirations into going into local government. But not anymore. It's not an aspiration of mine. It's not anything that I can see myself doing, really. So yeah, today, no, I'm not. I'm what you would call apolitical. The issues that we have in the quote unquote black community need to be solved in the house and not in the goddamn Capitol building. All right. That's just that my thought process on it. Maybe one day, once we can get past a lot of the early obstacles, then we can graduate to focus to greater focuses that may take place in the Capitol building. But until then, all of our issues, start and end in our own four walls. So there's no reason for me to be out in politics.
Get an abortion. So it's usually out of convenience. You haven't brought that up once.
And that's because women have talked to you and told you this?
It's just per statistics. Every statistic rape is like less than 2% of abortions.
Why do you think the number of abortions actually decreases under Democrats and typically increases or stays the same under
I already told you that.
Republicans? Why do you think that?
Genuinely, I do not know. But
Do you
what
care?
no, because I want to be illegal. So what I do know is...
So you don't care about the actual fetuses or the embryo. You don't care about that. You just care about this one damn law. You don't care about the actual preserving of life. You don't care what the number is. You just care about this one issue that is a law that you want to see passed. You don't care what the actual numbers are.
Incorrect, sir. I'm not saying it's not a positive if abortions were decreased. But what I do know, the reason I said I don't care, but I do know, is if it was illegal, them numbers would decrease significantly because you would have to take a risk to go get an abortion illegally.
That's another untrue statement.
So many
what you will have, well, we do have some stats of illegal abortions that led to the death of the mother because they were utilizing clothes hangers and people created a black market system so that you can go and seek these.
Yeah, exactly. But ask yourself, doctor, how many times are women gonna, die, on the like not in the hospital because they're doing it illegally, die wherever the hell they're going. Sooner or later, they can be like, you know what? I'm not even gonna put myself in a position to have no baby if I could potentially die from the goddamn abortion. And that goes back to the accountability and responsibility aspect. But when you try to strip all these things away, then no, they don't have any responsibility. They don't have any accountability. That's the issue. So yeah, if you really want to fucking, like, for instance, when you're a kid and your parents like, oh, you say you want something, they're like, do you really really want it? And then most times, these kids don't really want it. But then when the kid shows that they really want it, they'll show. People show you if they really want some shit. Like, you've been in a relationship with somebody, and then or with a chick, and she's like, oh, I need you to prove it that you really want this to work. And then half the time, that y'all not even talking no more after like a month or two because apparently you really didn't want that shit to fucking work, right? Or vice versa, y'all still together, maybe y'all married now because you really wanted it to work. So ultimately, look, if you really want an abortion, right, how bad do you want it? You want to risk your goddamn life for it? All right then, you know what I'm saying? Knock yourself out. Or what you can do is avoid the whole thing entirely. Hold on, where are we?
Abortions. The bottom line is, brother, that women have had this choice legally or illegally, and instead of focusing on the policy that you're trying to push, which is completely adversarial to any common sense known to man, to push that kind of ideology without respecting a woman's right to choose, especially in situations that are agreed.
See, again, without respecting a woman's right to choose. So the woman didn't have a right to choose what guy she's going to lay down with. She didn't have a right to choose whether to say, I'm on the pill or I'm not on the pill. She didn't have the right to choose whether he put on a condom or not. So she had none of those rights. That's my point. That's why it says sooner or later that they're not going to be allowed to say that anymore. It's not going to be PC to say, oh, women's right to choose, because what you're doing is you're belittling and you're marginalizing women. So I know it's a matter of time before they flip the switch on that shit, because there's too many choices that we all know are taking place for them to sit here and try to act like they're not there. Oh, you're gonna take away a woman's right to choose. She even probably chose where the fuck she spread her legs at. She chose whether it was in the bedroom, on the bed, what position, doggy side. She had a lot of fucking choices. Okay, so let's stop trying to again marginalize women, because that's just not the case. All right, these women know what the fuck they're doing.
Egregious as rape, brother. I'm disappointed.
But I do believe in a woman's right to choose.
I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in you because you talk all this shit, and for the last however many minutes, 16 minutes, this interview been going on, this brother been whooping your ass. So I'm disappointed in you. All right, my man's sitting here with a hoodie on and a cap and a gaming chair, straight whooping your ass, and you a goddamn doctor in some studio somewhere with a goddamn suit on. So yeah, nigga, I'm ashamed in you.
Because in most cases, it's convenience. She can make that choice in the bedroom, just like she make every other choice in her life. So once you make that choice in the bedroom, you have to deal with you a grown adult woman in most cases.
Bingo! I just said that. Let's go back one more time for that mind. Because now we're cooking with butter right now. This nigga filleting, Dr. Rashad, filleting your ass. Extra crispy, nigga. Extra crispy.
Instead of focusing on the policy that you're trying to push, which is completely adversarial to any common sense known to man, to push that kind of ideology without respecting a woman's right to choose, especially in situations that are egregious as rape, brother, I'm disappointed.
But I do believe in a woman's right to choose. Because in most cases, it's convenience. She can make that choice in the bedroom, just like she make every other choice in her life. So once you make that choice,
so how come when he said that, how come Rashad Richey didn't interject and say something else? What this brother should have did is he should have asked him. He should have said, "What about the choice that the woman has in the bedroom?" Ask Dr. Rashad Richey that shit. Let's see what the fuck he says. Let's see what he says, or if he started tiptoeing and dancing around. But the name of the show is supposed to be Undisputed, though. You know what I'm saying? But that's the point, because whatever he says, it can't be disputed. He's like a big ass baby. That's why I said, look, y'all always in my comments like, oh, you should go on, go on a panel with Umar. You should go talk to Cynthia Gio, you should go talk to this nigga here. Like, no, hell no, man. Look, they know that. Look, they don't want me on that show. They don't want me on them damn panels because I'm gonna expose these niggas, man. Pro truth. Look, the truth is like a bright ass light. All right, and when I come with the truth, these niggas start running like little roaches and shit, trying to hide. That's it, man. That's it. Rashad Richey, no, he don't want some bullshit. He know damn well he don't want me on the show because look, this brother is whooping his ass. I would have been fucking KO'd that nigga. Second round knockout. First round, I was just feeling him out with the jab, and then I would have been like, all right, man, he's food. He's food because he is food, especially on this topic. Come on, man. Come on, he got nothing. Got nothing. This brother Bryson should have asked him, bro, what about the woman's choice when she's in the bedroom? What about that choice? I keep hearing a woman's right to choose, woman's right to choose. She chose what nigga the fuck, right? Right? Didn't she? She chose whether that nigga was coming over her crib or not, right? She chose whether she was going back to his crib, if she even made it to the crib after the club. She might have just went to the nigga whip. If you want to keep it straight buck. So what about those rights? What about those rights to choose? Oh no. Oh no. I fucked up. Go back. All right, there we go. Sorry about that, y'all.
Welcome to the bullpen.
Oh, hell no. No.
Portions that led to the death of the mother. Because they were utilizing clothes hangers and people created a black market system so that you could go and see. You're not a fan of college. Okay, that's a shock.
Ooh, what the hell?
Etc. Do you advocate for that? Do you advocate for stronger policies to make sure foster children have access to higher education, to opportunities in the marketplace, job training, skills, etc.? Do you advocate for that?
Do I advocate for that? Again, look, I don't think it's my responsibility to take care of someone else's children. It's my responsibility to take care of my children, my family, right? And that's the responsibility for all men. So, no, and my 4 orphanages, obviously, like I said, they're unfortunately they're necessary to a degree. But again, that's not my responsibility. At the end of the day, there's always the military. They can go to the military, get the GI Bill, and pay for the schooling like that. So, why are we talking about that?
Job training skills, yes. I'm not a fan of these universities. I think people need to homeschool their kids.
Oh, that's a shock. You're not a fan of college. Okay, that's a shock.
Yeah.
All right.
See, that's what you got reduced to, Dr. Rashad Richey. Oh, that's a shock. You're not a fan of college. Oh, okay. Like that's some type of slight. Listen, don't be mad because you got soufflé for the past 20 minutes, nigga. You a joke.
Well, it's just school period, not just college. It's public school system, private school system. No matter what it is, all they're doing is indoctrinating our children. That's why a lot of liberals they claim that they didn't become liberals until they left college.
I got you, man. That's just. I mean, this has been. I don't know. Interesting. I can say that.
No, it hasn't. Damn well you've been getting your ass whooped, and you trying to end this shit right now because you weren't prepared. Trying to spoon feed this bullshit.
So, are you a big MAGA guy? Are you a Trumpite?
I'm not a Trumpite because I'm God first, obviously. But I do support Trump. Right now, I'm still focused on 2020. Really worried about 2024. I'm surprised we didn't get to the LGBT stuff.
But no, wait a minute. It's 2021 though, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the election was obviously stolen. In my opinion. You're laughing, but why?
Yeah, I'm laughing at you. You're absolutely correct. You called it out. That's the first true thing you said on this show.
Why are they trying to block audits?
Okay, brother. What's really interesting about all of this is that the places that are having audits, the audits are not being blocked. Georgia has had multiple audits. Arkansas has had multiple audits. A lot of states had audits. But you also have judges that were appointed by Donald Trump who said to these cases of election fraud, these are frivolous cases. So you mean to tell me that judges appointed by Trump himself decide the Republican governor himself?
The judges he appointed there, and granted, I do agree with you that he, in my opinion, Trump sometimes his judgment of character is a little off. But
a little off.
Yeah, but the judges he appointed, nobody didn't even give a real investigation into the case. Didn't get to the LGBT stuff because you'll be more shocked at my views on that.
Okay. What's your and we got like 2 minutes, man. You wanted to say something about LGBTQ rights?
Well, and censorship, we didn't get to that. But of course, I want same-sex marriage illegal, common sense. But also, as far as censorship, social media companies, especially the ones that are publicly traded, shouldn't have these like these Section 230 immunity being surrounded them. Because my music just got banned on some of the biggest platforms in the country, as far as Spotify and SoundCloud. Yeah. And how can you ban my music but still have music about murder? And
let me tell you why private companies can do that, and it is not antithetical to the Constitution. Your freedom of speech is a freedom that does have restrictions. Now, remember, your freedom of speech basically says the government cannot do anything to intrude on that freedom, right? Or penalize you for having said freedom when you exercise that freedom. But private companies, for example, TYT is a private company. Indisputable is a show at this private company. If I wanted you to be off my show, I could just cut your mic. I haven't violated your constitutional rights. Maybe I've offended you, brother, but I have not violated your constitutional rights. So when you make a constitutional argument,
I didn't,
because of a private company, what they decide to do with your music, that doesn't equate. It's not a constitutional issue.
You brought up Constitution. I said nothing about the Constitution.
So you're just saying private companies should do what you want them to do?
No, incorrect. But if you're gonna ban my music,
okay,
you have to ban other music similar to that.
Like they don't have to, brother. They don't.
And this is where we get into the thing.
They're not Christians like you, brother.
I don't know. And now this is the argument. Now my argument is discrimination. Right? Y'all like that?
Discrimination. I got
but it is discrimination. I can prove it's discrimination by emails. I can pull up 1,000 popular songs.
And they're discriminating against you.
All right, so now they're just obviously going on. Now this video is basically over. I'll conclude by saying this about that last point, which is, we do obviously have constitutional rights and freedom of speech, but the issue is, like Rashad was saying, that corporations don't technically have to abide by that. Now, that's an issue that we're seeing more and more now, because if the nation is turning into like a corporatocracy where everyone works for some type of corporate America or corporate job, then by extension, they would be the government, because you can't, like for instance, with the vaccine mandates, if your job's telling you got to get it, and every damn job is corporate, then realistically, you're going to have to be forced to take a vaccine. So at some point, these Supreme Court judges are going to have to revisit that, because these corporations are huge. They employ hundreds of thousands of people across the nation. So they have a lot of power. So if they say, oh, no, you can't say that, or we don't appreciate you speaking out against abortion, then that's a problem. Because then they could stop, 30,000 people from speaking out against abortion? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, these corporations are run by a person. So the corporation's views are going to be in line with somebody. So now everyone in the corporation has to agree with what this person said and believes. So yeah, I do believe that sometime in the near future, if this world is still around, that will be revisited. It's inevitable. But anyway, that's it for today. This went a lot longer than I thought it was going to go. But, there was a lot of nuggets in there, so I'm happy to bring that content forward. Especially, I don't do lives that often, especially not around this time. So, it was a nice little treat for y'all. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope the ones that didn't get to watch it live, when you do watch it, I hope you enjoy it. And please remember to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are on the road to 200 subscribers. Let's go. Thank you again. Double A Hef here, signing out with another episode of The Truth Scope. Peace.